Life is often full of twists and turns that we can't predict, no matter how good our intentions are. This is something many of us struggle with daily. We do our best to help others, to be kind, and to make the world a better place. But sometimes, despite our best efforts, things don't go as planned. We face misunderstandings, confusion, and even resistance from the very people we try to help. How should we respond to this? Should we stop trying to make a positive impact because things go wrong? Or is there a deeper lesson we can learn from these struggles? Today, we explore this very question through a powerful story that illustrates the Buddhist concept of dependent origination, or pratitya. This concept teaches us that all phenomena in the world are interconnected and that our actions, both good and bad, set off a chain of events. Through this lens, we can begin to understand how our efforts to do good can sometimes be misunderstood and how we can navigate these challenges with wisdom and compassion. Let's take a closer look at a story of a young man named Jack. Jack was a young man with a heart full of kindness. Ever since his college days, he had been deeply involved in volunteer work. He found joy in helping others, whether it was cleaning up local parks, volunteering at nursing homes, or lending a hand wherever he could. His friends admired his selflessness, although some sometimes joked that he was a bit too nice for his own good. Despite this, Jack continued to do what he felt was right, and his efforts earned him the respect and trust of those around him. One Saturday morning, while walking through his neighborhood park, Jack noticed a small child crying. The child, a boy of about 5 years old, was clearly lost and panicking. Jack's heart immediately went out to him. He bent down to the boy's level and gently asked, "What's wrong? Where are your parents?" The boy wiped his tears and in a shaky voice said, "I don't know where they are." Jack felt an overwhelming sense of urgency to help. Without hesitation, he reached out his hand and said, "Don't worry, we'll find your parents together." He gently picked up the boy, hoping that his presence would calm him down, and started walking around the park, asking anyone nearby if they had seen the boy's parents. However, an onlooker who happened to pass by misinterpreted the situation. They saw a stranger holding a child and immediately assumed the worst, that Jack was attempting to abduct the boy. In a moment of panic, they called the police. Jack, unaware of the misunderstanding, continued his search for the child's parents. But before long, the police arrived, and Jack found himself being questioned. He explained that he was only trying to help the lost child, but the police, concerned for the boy's safety, insisted on taking him to the station for further questioning. By the time the child's parents arrived at the police station, the situation had escalated. The police officer assured them that the boy was safe, but the damage had been done. Jack had tried to help, but his actions had been misunderstood, and rumors quickly began to spread. People in the neighborhood began to question Jack's intentions. Had he truly been trying to help, or was there something sinister behind his actions? Jack was devastated. He had always prided himself on helping others, but now his good intentions were being met with suspicion and doubt. This experience shook him to his core. He withdrew from the community and, for the first time, began to question whether he should continue his volunteer work. Could he ever trust that his actions would be understood, or should he simply stop trying? But there was someone who could help him make sense of this painful experience. Jack remembered an old mentor of his, a Buddhist monk named Kōkai, who had always been a source of wisdom and guidance. Kōkai had taught Jack that life's difficulties were not obstacles, but opportunities for growth. He decided to visit Kōkai and seek his advice. When Jack arrived at the temple, Kōkai welcomed him warmly. The monk listened patiently as Jack recounted everything that had happened. He explained how the misunderstanding had left him feeling helpless and discouraged. "I just wanted to help," Jack said, his voice heavy with emotion. "But now I'm not sure if I should continue. Maybe I'm not cut out for this after all." Kōkai smiled gently and began to speak. "Jack, your intentions were never wrong. You wanted to help, and that is something pure and beautiful. But you see, sometimes in life, things do not go as we expect. People misunderstand our actions, and they act out of fear or doubt. The person who called the police did so out of fear, not malice. They saw a stranger holding a child and reacted impulsively. Jack nodded, but he was still confused. But why did things have to go so wrong? Why do these misunderstandings happen? Kōkai's expression softened as he explained. This is where the Buddhist concept of dependent origination comes into play. Every action, every event is connected to something else. It is like a chain of events, and one small mistake can set off a cascade of misunderstandings. Just as you tried to help that child, the fear of the passerby triggered their decision to call the police. That fear then affected your own confidence and caused you to doubt your ability to help others. Jack listened intently as Kōkai continued. This is the nature of the world. All things are interconnected. Sometimes, our actions, even when done with the best of intentions, can lead to unforeseen consequences. But this doesn't mean you should stop trying to help others. Fear and misunderstanding are part of the human experience, but they do not define who you are or what you stand for. Jack's heart began to lighten. He had been focusing too much on the negative consequences of his actions, but Kōkai was helping him see the bigger picture. So, what should I do? Jack asked. Kōkai smiled again. You must continue to act with kindness, but also with wisdom. Understand that not everyone will understand your intentions right away. You cannot control how others perceive you, but you can control your actions. If you stop helping others out of fear, you contribute to the cycle of misunderstanding and fear that already exists. But if you keep helping, even in small ways, you can begin to break that cycle. Jack thought deeply about Kōkai's words. Slowly, a sense of resolve began to form within him. He realized that the path to helping others was not always smooth. It might be challenging, and there might be moments of misunderstanding, but he couldn't let fear dictate his actions. He had to keep moving forward with kindness and wisdom. With a renewed sense of purpose, Jack decided to rejoin the volunteer community, but this time with a new approach. He understood now that it wasn't enough to act out of pure intention alone. He needed to be mindful of how his actions could be perceived by others. He worked with local organizations to make his efforts more organized, ensuring that others were always involved in the process. He learned to communicate his intentions clearly and to stay calm in difficult situations. Over time, Jack's approach began to bear fruit. He received more trust and support from the community. People saw his dedication and sincerity, and his actions began to inspire others. Through his perseverance, Jack learned that even in the face of misunderstanding and fear, he could still make a positive impact. His actions, rooted in kindness and wisdom, slowly started to break down the walls of fear and misunderstanding around him. As Jack continued his volunteer work, he remembered the words of Kōkai. You must act with kindness, but also with wisdom. By doing so, you can help break the cycle of fear and misunderstanding in the world. In the end, Jack's journey taught him a valuable lesson, that life's challenges, no matter how difficult, are opportunities for growth. The key is not to give up in the face of adversity, but to continue on the path with patience, wisdom, and compassion. This story reflects the teachings of Buddhism in a profound way. Dependent origination shows us how our actions, no matter how small, are interconnected. And while misunderstandings and fear are inevitable parts of life, they are not reasons to give up. Rather, they are opportunities to act with greater wisdom and compassion. By continuing on the path of kindness, even in the face of challenges, we can break the cycle of misunderstanding and help create a better world for ourselves and others. Thank you for watching, and may this story inspire you to continue your journey with wisdom and compassion.